Let's start with television and movies. While watching television, children are exposed to a large number of altruistic portrayals, such as helping and sharing. However, in sharp contrast to the vast amount of studies on the effects of television violence, very few studies have focused on the effects of altruistic portrayals on children's behavior. Nevertheless, there is accumulating evidence that children's pro-social behaviors can be encouraged by exposure to pro-social television programming. For instance, the television series Dragon Tales was found to encourage young children to play, to share, and to cooperate with others. Similarly, Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood, which is based on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, was found to contribute to children's level of empathy and emotion recognition. When it comes to watching movies, Disney's animated movies are of particular interest, and research shows that these movies hold a substantial amount of pro-social behavior portrayals. In fact, they're almost 7 times higher than the average children's television show. Moreover, the occurrence of aggression in Disney movies has been found to be quite low. Empirical studies on the effects of watching Disney movies are scarce. However, in an experimental study on the effects of a Disney movie, 2 researchers examined whether Disney movies could inspire children to help their friends. After being exposed to a helping Disney character, children were more likely to help others than those who watched a neutral Disney fragment, indicating that children can be inspired to help by watching helping Disney characters. What about social media? While we often hear news reports about cyberbullying and negative effects of social media on teens, research does suggest that social media can also provide a means to support friendship and nurture positive emotions. Almost half of U.S. teenagers believe that the internet improved their friendships. Since young people appear to be inclined to share predominantly positive events, social network sites provide an excellent platform to nurture positive emotions, such as reliving good times, but also re-experiencing others' positive events. Humans often turn to others to share good news, a process called capitalization. Sharing positive events with others, for instance, by communicating about them or celebrating them, is related to well-being, above and beyond the influence of the event itself. When reactions by others are perceived as enthusiastic, the effects of well-being are even stronger. This happens online as well as offline. Although social media seems to be a good place for positive interaction, it can also have negative outcomes. It's important to note that almost 2/3 of teenagers studied feel that the internet takes away time that they would spend with their families. Moreover, the use of Facebook has also been found to be related to lower levels of well-being, and taking a break from Facebook for a week has been found to improve well-being among young adults. Interestingly, the adverse effects seem to be stronger for heavy users, for the ones who use it passively compared to actively, and for people who have a tendency to envy others on Facebook, which indicates that when examining the effects of social media networking sites, it's important to take into account how exactly social media are used. And last, what about video games? The vast majority of research on the effects of gaming has also focused on the adverse effects such as aggression, addiction, and depression. However, a review study revealed that video games hold immense potential for acquiring new behaviors and can promote well-being, including such things as social skills and pro-social behaviors. More specifically, playing pro-social games appear to have short-term effects on helping behaviors. Longitudinal effects were also found, indicating that children who played pro-social games often at the beginning of the school year were more likely to be helpful later that year. Interestingly, where pro-social games are found to increase pro-social behavior, violent games are just as likely to foster pro-social behaviors. A critical point appeared to be that these games should encourage cooperative rather than competitive play. Playing violent games that encourage cooperative play are found to increase helping online as well as offline. So what can we conclude about media and happiness? Research shows that media can increase happiness in young people, and that young people's media environment contains numerous instances of altruistic behaviors towards others. Considering these conclusions from the perspective of cultivation theory, the question arises whether media exposure could invoke a kind world syndrome rather than the mean world syndrome. In this respect, it's important to take into account the dose-response effect, that is, the amount of time children and adolescents are involved with media. Heavy use of media is associated with lower happiness despite the proliferation of prosocial depictions. Therefore, when considering the positive impact of media on children and adolescents' happiness, it is crucial to acknowledge the complexity and conditions of this relationship. How much and in what context can prosocial media benefit youth?